We're going to record. Hello, everybody. Welcome to our success chat tonight. You guys, I know summers are like a little bit harder because your schedule's a little bit more unpredictable and things like that. But I really hope as you're watching this live, thank you for being on live. For those of you watching the rebroadcast, try to put this on your calendar. Make this a priority. I can't tell you like how important it is to just keep those check-in points, right? And to have this community, to have this accessibility to making this work for you, right? So try to be here at all costs when you can, and we are thankful that you're here, and we want to make it fun and help everybody to be very successful as well. So tonight is July 5th. I hope you guys had a good 4th of July holiday. I'm coming to you live from the Business Center in Wilmington, Ohio. And so it has been fun. And I can tell you it's just been, I just feel so great having the 2B mindset and having these rules as like we're traveling, as we're on vacation, as we're enjoying summer. And I just love that we're celebrating weight loss, and all of you guys are experiencing that too. So let me just tell you about our bell ringers this week and celebrate some of those successes and what's going on. So congratulations to Shauna, who has lost 3 pounds in her first week, and she even said that she lost 2 pounds at the lake, so while on vacation, which is awesome. Erin is now at 12 pounds. Erin's listening on. Welcome. And congratulations, Erin. 12 pounds. It's awesome. I love hearing that. Jennifer Lip, 6 pounds down this week. Awesome job. And also to Paula, down 2 pounds for this week too. So awesome job, you guys. Jen, maybe you want to speak a little bit, because I know you kind of revamped what you were doing, revamped like your commitment. But what's really made the difference for you? I mean, you've lost 6 pounds in like just over a week, I think, since you kind of recommitted yourself to that. You want to talk about that a little bit?
Yeah, so the first thing I did was make a meal plan.
There it is, golden rule, right?
Right. So I haven't really had one really all summer. And when I first started 2B, I thought, I can get away with just stocking my fridge with some vegetables and a fruit option and making one protein a week and just eating a ton of salads. But I quickly got tired of it. And when I get bored with my food, I fall off track. And I know that about myself. I eat the same thing over and over, and then it doesn't sound good. So I look for other things to eat that aren't, that don't serve me and they don't help me get to where I want to be. So I made a meal plan. I saved it to my phone, so I had no excuse when we were out and about as to, kind of what my idea was, because like you said, it is summer and plans change. And I really just focused in and committed to staying with veggies most and the plated options and a ton. You guys, I haven't drank as much water as I did last week ever. And I'm struggling with water this week now, but I think the water made a huge difference for me too. It's again, and now I'm back in that same cycle. Now I'm bored of water again, so I'm trying different add-ins and ice and room temp and that sort of thing just to try to keep going. But I've blocked out time in my schedule tomorrow to make a meal plan for next week. I'm just going to keep going, 1 week at a time.
Good. Awesome. Just that in itself, like having a meal plan, it's huge to overcoming a lot of those barriers. And two, I just love what you just said. Like I planned time to plan, right? It's not something that you take by chance, something that you really have to commit to making happen, to sit down and write out that plan and have that available to you too. So that's awesome. Congratulations. I'm excited to see you feeling like in the direction that you want to go. And that's awesome. Erin, I don't know if you're available, but if you might want to share just a little bit about what's working for you. 12 pounds down, and it's been, is this week 5 for you, I think?
What?
So do you want to share a few things, like what's working for you? What's helping you with your weight loss?
It's just once I figured out a plan, it's really worked out well, where I'm trying different things. We put out a plan. And it's just making sure I have everything. So we pretty much live day by day. And so I have a plan for the whole week. And so if something doesn't work, I was like, well, I don't have time to make this, but I'm going to make this and just take it off of this day. And that's kind of how we live and survive with my twins. So
Awesome. Good. So kind of like being able to swap, right? Like you still have ideas, but you can kind of interchange some things to make it fit what.
Yeah, I plan for a whole week and make sure I have food for that. And that's what I call a day.
Awesome. Awesome. Good. I love that. That's really great. Good. Congratulations to you. Like, keep it up. This is awesome. And it's like, I can see it in your eyes and in your face, like the motivation, right? Like just that stay power. And you're like, okay, like I'm in it to win it now. I believe in this. I see it working.
Yeah, for sure.
And that's awesome. I love that. Love that. Love that. Good. Marlene, victories from the week. Do you want to share anything? What's working for you?
You're not going to believe this. I went to Subway and got a sandwich tonight, and I always get a bag of chips. And I told myself tonight, I'm not going to get chips. And that is the mindset of it all, is just like, woo woo.
Yes. Right. I mean, just that one thing, that it can be that small of a victory. And it's like, you just empowered yourself to be in control, girl, for like the rest of the week. Right. Like, awesome. That one thing that was hard that you didn't think you could overcome, that you did. Awesome. Very good. Very good. Anything else that you want to share?
You know, I know we talk about drinking water, but I have found that if I don't get my water in, I either gain or stay the same. But boy, I tell you what, if you get your water in, or, you know, the liquids and stuff, it really helps.
Yep. Good. Awesome. Making that a focus every single day. And I can tell you, so like we've been traveling across the country for the last 3 days. So I was kind of scared, right, of water and having to stop like all of the time at the bathroom. Like it would turn our 9-hour trip into 11 hours probably if we had to do that. So, you know, I tried to focus on staying consistent with my water throughout the day, but smaller amounts, but really up my water when I knew we were going to stop for meals or when I was going to be eating, and which is what we should be doing with 2B Mindset anyway, right? But it's kind of something that I've struggled with, is drinking that full 16 ounces before a meal. But in doing this, I've really focused on that. And man, that really does help to have that water and to just kind of prep and prime your system and to feel good. And it was really, really nice to be able to do that. So I just think it was, you know, we come across these opportunities where we can see these practices really working and just kind of strengthen that belief. So you've got to do the work so that you can really gain that motivation, that conviction, that belief that this works. And there'll be nothing stopping us, I think, with that point. So really awesome. Whoops. You guys, if you have any questions or anything, you can share them in the chat or write them down, so we can talk a little bit more if there's any other things that everybody wants to cover as we get towards the end of this. But I did want to do a short training tonight, and this is a little bit shorter, but I think it is a really, really important point, right? Because we might all deal with those times where those people closest to us don't get our journey, right? You may experience some lack of support, and maybe it's not right away, but as you continue to make more progress, sometimes some of those people creep in where they've been really, really supportive and all of a sudden they're not, right? And it's easy for us to take that and to really be critical of ourselves and wonder, are we doing the right thing, to really commit to this lifestyle, and how do we overcome where we feel like maybe those relationships are getting sacrificed. So I want to address this tonight because I think it's something that, whether you're experiencing this or not right now, or maybe it's going to be down the road for you, or maybe you just know somebody else who's going through this and can maybe give them some support and just really understand. I think it's a really important point, right? So, because this is really a common thing. So one story that really struck me that I'll share kind of in relation to this is I was listening to a podcast that Chalene Johnson was doing, and she talked about a client that she was training in the gym. And so she's a trainer. She does quite a few of the Beachbody workouts. If anyone's not familiar with her, like PiYo and Turbo Jam, Turbo Fire, Chalene Extreme. So, but she said she was training this lady, and she had probably about 200 pounds to lose. So she said it was hard for her to walk from her car into the gym. Like, it was just physically demanding just to even do that when she started. So she said as she started training her, like that time where they were actually they got to spend talking and, talking about her goals, talking about how she was going to be able to build this belief in herself and be able to overcome these obstacles that she had with emotional eating. She talked about how that time became really, really valuable to them. And, over the first 3 months, this lady lost 60 pounds in 3 months. Like, so she went all in, and, she was just so happy. It was almost like she was a different person, right? She was really happy and motivated, and she just had so much energy in this life to her that she hadn't had before. And then at about that 3-month mark, she stopped coming to her sessions, right? Like she said, she always had some good excuses as to why, something that this came up, or she wasn't feeling well or sick or something like that. So, she saw her sometimes, but not always. And then she stopped turning in her food logs, right? Like, so like for us, that would be kind of like our daily check-in, just stopping our daily check-ins. And, she said, I knew something was happening, and I could tell as she was at the sessions she was coming back to that this weight was creeping back on. And she's like, I just knew at that moment that I needed to have, a heart-to-heart with her in what was going on. So she approached her and she said, hey, what's going on? What's changed? And this lady just broke down and she started to cry. And she said, it's really hard. At first, my husband was super supportive, and he would even drive me to the sessions. He was really accommodating when I told him that, I didn't want to go out to eat at these restaurants and fast foods. And he was really encouraging. And she said, I really felt like I had his support. And then she said, but then I started to lose weight and started to make all these changes. And she said, I could tell that there was this distance that was coming between us. And she said he started to bring home treats after work and just making temptations and doing things that were making it harder and harder for her to do this and to live this lifestyle, right? And she said every time that she would be excited about a victory, they would fight. And she said, I just started to feel like the more successful I became, the further there was this wedge in their relationship. So you guys, maybe you can really assimilate to this, and you've experienced, something common to this. And I want you to know that what's going on and why this is happening, because it really doesn't have, I just want you to know, like, it's happening because those people in your life, it's not happening because they don't love you and support you. They do. And that's really the reason that happens, right, is because of love. So here's what's happening to those people. Like, people, all of us, we don't like change. Change isn't something that really comes naturally to us and to accept or to deal with, especially when it comes to people that we love and care about. So as you start to make changes, the people who matter most in our lives, they tend to fear that your relationship with them is going to change also as you make these changes, that suddenly they'll be less significant in your life, right? That piece that they're playing won't be as significant to you and what you need. So when you kind of feel that negative vibe from people, or feel like they're trying to sabotage you, or they're not being supportive of your journey, I just want you to know it's not because they don't want you to be successful. It's that they don't want to see their role in your life diminish, right? Another reason why we can see this happen, and especially like in friends, it's like it's a mirror, right? So a lot of times those people see you making changes, eating healthy, having that energy, exercising, like feeling really good, and they know that they're not, right? So, and they're it's kind of hard, and so they start to distance themselves because they want to be who you're being, but they don't feel like they can be that person, right? So they wish they could be as disciplined as you, wish that they could do those things, but it kind of triggers a negative emotion for them to be with you because they realize all of those things that they should be doing and they're not. So that could be another reason why some people distance themselves or kind of feel unsupportive. And then a final reason that I want to kind of share with you to just give you some perspective with this is that people just don't want to lose control, right? Nobody wants to lose control, but especially when it comes to people that we love the most. So I thought about a story to kind of like talk about this. And, I don't know if you guys have ever heard that story of like the crabs in the barrel, right? So if you put a bunch of crabs into a barrel, right? Crabs they can get out of anywhere. They can climb anything, right? So, but if you put a bunch of crabs in a barrel, eventually one is going to try to get out of that barrel, right? So as he starts to try to climb out of this barrel, what happens? There's all of these other crabs start climbing on his back and trying to like push him down back into this barrel, right? Until finally he's weighed down so much that he can't climb anymore. And that keeps happening to where, if they would all work together, they could get out. But because they keep clawing each other back down into this barrel, nobody gets out, right? So sometimes that can happen with the people that we surround ourselves with, right? They don't want to see you leave. They're afraid that of what will happen if you leave because that's scary, that kind of change. So know that those kind of things are happening. And the one question that I, think is good to ask yourself is, what do you do about that? Now that kind of maybe understanding that they're coming to you out of a position of love, it's fear that they're afraid of, not that they're unsupportive and they don't want you to be successful. So how do you do it? There's really a lot of things you can do about it. First, you have to understand that it's, again, not about you. They're doing this from love. It's about fear of change. So the first thing that you can do is just be empathetic, right? Know that it's where it comes from. Know that you can show that person that, that they matter, that they have significance in your life, right? So you probably have to put a little bit of work into helping them to feel that significance, right? Do a little bit of extra, because you do want to stick with this plan. You do want to make this your lifestyle, right? But you also want to have those great relationships while you do this. So the last thing that you really want to do as you're losing weight and starting to feel better and really adapting this lifestyle that you're really excited about and that you really love is to sacrifice the relationships in the process. So you can make everything healthier at the same time. Your relationships, your life, your physical health, all of those things, right? So be self-aware of what's going on, right? So like you probably all have had people who are in your life that have been on a certain diet or done certain thing and, they just talk about it all of the time, right? So they like to share what they're doing, share their story, but every conversation that you have with them turns to weight loss or this diet plan or something like that, right? And sometimes that's overwhelming for people that's all that they hear, because, while you're excited about it, they're maybe not on that same journey or they're not in that same position or doing those same things where they're excited about it. So just use some self-awareness and have some balance with that, right? And this isn't just about weight, and health. I mean, this can happen with, food, religion, politics, all of those things. So sometimes we just need to make sure that we're bringing more into the conversation, that we're not just always zeroing in on this plan and what we're doing to help to make sure that we're balancing those relationships. And that excitement that you have, that excitement for sharing the victories and being enthusiastic and having that, like, don't let that go away. Channel that into our groups too, right? Because that is where we all are excited. We all are doing this together. We all really love this, and we want to hear it and celebrate that together. So make sure that you use that camaraderie there in the groups to really, really have that if you feel like the people in your life aren't quite as excited about this as you are. And then one last point that I want to share on this topic is for you to also remember that this is an opportunity for you to build your relationships, right? Whenever you have a setback or a trial or something where you need to better those relationships, it's an opportunity to make them stronger, right? Think of the best relationships you have, whether that's, you know, a spouse or significant other, or, you know, a best friend that you've had for a very long time. Undoubtedly, you've had some, you know, friction, right? You've gone through some struggles, maybe some arguments and things like that. The strongest relationships happen when you can take that opportunity to make them stronger, right? So this is really a very minor obstacle in most cases, but it's an opportunity for you to improve your communication with those persons, and in doing that, to strengthen your relationships and let them grow. So here's what I would recommend to doing is just framing it in the right state of mind, right? Stop thinking about this first as sabotage, because again, it's not sabotage, it's the fear of losing you. And see this as an opportunity to learn to communicate what all of the positives are, right? Like something like, you know, I feel so loved when I know that you like to go to dinner on Friday nights, but instead you're letting me cook a healthy meal at home, right? That's a really great way to frame that, instead of saying, I can't go to dinner on Friday nights because I'll get off track and I have to stick to my weight loss goals, right? Frame that positive, have them see that support and that that's a good thing in your life. Here's another one. When you invited me out to recognize that it's like saying using the I to frame them, right? Like, I feel loved, I feel supported, and notice all the things that they're doing to encourage you on that journey, rather than attacking them, you know, and making them feel ashamed for what they're doing, right? Because that helps them to see that they did something wrong. So again, in the dinner example, you know, I've loved that you, instead of going out to eat, which I know you love to do, you're letting me cook at home and make us a really great meal tonight. Versus, you know, when you invite me out to dinner with your friends, right? Boom, boom, boom. I can't stick to my goals. I think that you're trying to maybe derail me, right? So that you can feel the difference, right, in those two sentiments and what that's about. So make your relationships a really important part of this journey, right? It's not just about eating well. It's not just about working out. But, you know, the health of your relationships, building that communication is really, really important. Happiness is really founded on our relationships with people, right? And the number on your scale, even if you end up at your ideal weight, if your relationships are suffering in the process, it's not going to make you happy. So I challenge you this week to really kind of look at that. If you feel like there's places where you lack some support, again, use that self-awareness and see how you can kind of extend yourself to make that person feel very valued and successful in part of your journey. Use those I statements, tell them how you feel, communicate to help them to feel really great as a part of your life and also as a part of your journey. You know, make sure that you are being aware to be inclusive of a lot of topics in your conversations and the things that you're doing. And again, above all, know that a lot of times when people that we love and that are close to us. And it's the right relationships, right? Like you've got to use some balance there, because sometimes we can be in relationships that aren't healthy. But those ones that are healthy, that you know that this is maybe just a struggle, know that this is something that they're probably coming at you with some love, and they either don't want you to get hurt or to fail, because they fear what that will do to you, or they fear, what these changes are going to be in your life, and what the significance that if it's going to leave them in not as a significant place as where they have been in that role in your life. So I hope that makes sense. I kind of feel like I stumbled through that a little bit, but hopefully got the points, that you guys can use. So, and if you guys are facing anything like that, any type of extra support that you need, I hope that you feel like you can reach out to us, use your weekly check-ins to do that. Again, use the group to help bolster you up, to have that support and that enthusiasm that you really need and that you deserve with this, right? As you're excited and you are making positive changes and are doing good things in your life, to have those and to have those in the right place. Any questions, you guys, about that topic or anything else that you want to cover? I'm going to unmute everybody to make sure everybody gets a chance to do that. Any questions? Does that make sense? Good. Do you think that's good food for thought on relationships? It's kind of the first time I've talked about that, so hopefully everybody feels like that might be something they can gain from.
I think it's really good, Tina. When I first started all of this, however many years ago, 3 years ago, I had a lot of pushback from my parents, and I think it was more concern over, just the losing weight and getting too skinny, and they thought I was obsessed about what I was putting in my body, which I was, right? Because I was trying to focus more on changing my habits. I mean, I grew up on a meat and potato staple diet, and then I was showing up to their house as an adult with, lots of vegetables and lean protein. So I think it mostly came from a place of misunderstanding, concern, and I still get comments and stuff, but I think if you stick with it and if you stay the course, and I am notorious for springing new recipes, quote unquote healthy recipes on them when they come out, and they rave about it, and then after I tell them what was in it, and so doing small things like that just helps them understand that it's not something crazy I'm doing. It's just, simple switches to make me feel better about, where I'm at in my own health.
Right. Definitely. Good. Thank you for sharing that. All right, you guys, anything else? Questions, things that you guys want to see covered in the group this week? Okay. Again, I highly encourage you to fill out your weekly check-ins as well. We want to have that opportunity to have that daily touch or that weekly touch point with you, but it also gives us an opportunity to see what you are feeling good about and what you feel like you need, because all of the content that we have going in weekly into the groups is really going to be based off of helping support you guys with those goals that you have and bringing in some more recipes and things like that too. We're good. Okay, you guys, we'll have a very good week. Excited to celebrate your success. So we'll have the new leaderboard up tomorrow, and we'll talk to you soon. Have a good night.